here what we're going to look at is an EDTA titration just based on looking at endpoints. Not worried about like calculating metal concentrations in the middle or anything like that, but it's a little bit wordy. So it's practicing reading through a problem where we have to think through what does our solution represent at each step and how do these transformations change what we're calculating. So my recommendation is you pause me, give this a try first, and then watch me go over it. So okay, I'm going to assume you've done that at this point. So let's see what I've got to figure out. So we're told that we have a 3.205 gram sample of tubing that contains nickel and copper. It's dissolved and diluted at 250 milliliters in a flask. So I'm going to assume that means my solution is only these two metals are relevant to me, nickel 2 plus, copper 2 plus. So initially they're all in this 250 milliliter flask. I then pull a 20 milliliter sample out of that and I do a test with it with the EDTA, which is going to react 1-to-1 with both metals. And I've got a note of how much EDTA it requires and the concentration of it to reach the equivalence point. It then tells me there's a second aliquot taken, also of 20 milliliters, but that this time a compound is added, mercaptoacetic acid, and that forms a complex to the copper. So if it's complex to the copper isn't going to be able to react to their EDTA. So that means the second sample, we're only going to look at the nickel concentration. And from there, I want to know what the percent mass for both copper and nickel is. So if I want the percent mass for copper and nickel, I need to figure out how many grams of copper and nickel are in the original tubing. Since the tubing has been dissolved in a 250 milliliter flask, I need to figure out the molarity of the nickel and copper in that flask, because then I can figure out how many moles were actually in that tubing that's there. And to find out that molarity, I can use the 20 milliliter aliquots that were taken. Remember, concentration is going to be something that is not going to change between the volume changes in this case, because there's no dilution anywhere. So I took 250 milliliters, I pulled a 20 milliliter aliquot out. The molarity in that 20 milliliters is the same as the 250. Importantly, the molarity is the same, but not the moles or grams. So once I solve the molarity, I'm then going to need to find out how many moles and then how many grams of those two metals are present to compare it to the total tubing up above. So let's figure that out. So it doesn't matter which order you do these samples in. I'm going to do the first one, which contains both nickel and copper first. You could do the one that only contains nickel first. It wouldn't matter. So from here, we know that it took 0.02750 liters of our EDTA to be able to get it to reach the equivalence point. We know the concentration is 0.1025 molar, so that means for every 1 liter, there's 0.1025 moles of EDTA. And we also know, I'll just mention this, that for every mole of EDTA, it means there is 1 mole of either nickel or copper, right? So it represents both of those added together. So it's nickel and copper. So say and instead, probably makes more sense here. So those combined, right? So I do the math there. If I figure that out, I get 0.002819 moles of nickel plus copper. And that's the amount in a 20 milliliter aliquot. So the concentration in that, because that's what I'm going to be able to transfer over my 250 milliliter flask when I'm looking at that part in the end. If I do that calculation, I get 0.1409 molar. So that's the concentration of my nickel plus copper together in both the 20 milliliter sample and the 250 milliliter sample. Since, again, there was no dilution, that means my molarities aren't going to change between those. Now, I can also figure this out for just the nickel ions. So that's nickel 2 plus, but we're not worried about the mass of the electrons. That's not going to change anything to any amount that's measurable within this amount of rounding. So it's nickel 2 plus, but just like up here, we got nickel 2 plus and copper 2 plus probably. So, and EDTA doesn't care what the ion thing there is. I mean, it does for formation constants and stuff, but we're assuming that this titration is done at an appropriate pH and with an appropriate indicator they could easily do this. So we don't have to worry about that part in this problem. So for the second titration, it took 0.01144 liters this time. It took less because none of the copper is present now. Well, the copper is present but does not react with the EDTA because it's complex. We still have the same molarity. But for this problem, every mole of EDTA instead only represents moles of nickel. And so when you do that, you get 0.001173 moles nickel. This sample is also 20 milliliters, so we can find its molarity. And from there, we get 0.05863 molar nickel. Now that I have both these pieces of information, I can also find the molarity of my copper, since the nickel and copper together is a number, and I know the nickel. If I subtract the nickel from the nickel plus copper, I get my copper. So I take 0.1409, subtract 0.05863 from it. Do that subtraction, I get 0.0823 molar copper. So these are my two concentrations of my nickel and my copper. From here, we can now find the percentage mass in our copper and nickel in our sample if we go find how many grams of nickel and copper in our sample. So to do that, I'm going to use this molarity with each volume. Note, make a note somewhere of what these two molarities are, because I'm going to erase the screen and then do the second part. That way I have enough room to write everything. So I have these written down elsewhere. Okay, so back to pen. So from here, in our 250 milliliters, wow, that was poorly written, 250 milliliters, in this portion, we know its molarity, so 0.25000 liters. And I'm going to do the nickel. Let's see. I've got the calculation for the nickel first. You could do the copper first. It doesn't matter. So this, we know, is 1 liter per 0.05863 moles of our nickel. Remember, that's just the calculation we did earlier of what the nickel concentration was, but now we're interested in the 250 milliliters because I want to know the grams of nickel in those 250 milliliters. So every mole of nickel has a molar mass of 58.69 grams. You do the calculation there, you get 0.8602 grams nickel. And so now I can find a percent nickel, since it's just that, divided by 3.205 grams total, times 100%. So that's my part over whole. And this will tell me this sample is 26.84% nickel. So now we've answered half the question, which is what is the percentage of nickel and copper? I've answered for nickel. Now let's do a similar thing with copper. The setup is exactly the same, you just have a different molarity and a different molar mass. So still 250 milliliters. Now our concentration is 1 liter is, see I've got it written down on this side, 0.0823 moles of copper. That has a molar mass of 63.55 grams per 1 mole of copper. And so that gives us a mass of 1.31 grams of copper divided by our 3.205 gram total mass times 100%. When you do all that, you get 40.8% copper. Note these don't add up to 100%. That's okay. Nothing in this problem told us tubing was made of only nickel or only nickel and copper. It definitely can have other components. It was to be assumed that it's not going to react with EDTA in any other way. Probably better if I put something in the problem that said, assume that there are no other metals present that will also react with EDTA and mess up your titration, basically. So we do make assumptions that metals are present there. Obviously, if you're doing this experiment yourself, you probably know something about the tubing's construction to know, hey, this doesn't have other metals. Or if you are concerned, you're going to do something else to tell what this thing is composed of to some amount to make sure you don't have to worry about something else. There's some reason you believe this is just nickel and copper, and that's why you're testing it this way. But in terms of calculations, that's what you do. Notice with these problems in general, I like using EDTA problems as examples of questions that, yes, involve some calculations, but at the end of the day, the molarity calculations here are on the order of difficulty of what I give a general chemistry student. But what makes it more difficult here is that there's more language around what's happening in the experiment, so you have to keep track of what concentration represents what and how do changes do. For example, sometimes you'll have problems that have dilutions where you have to calculate a difference in molarity there. Or maybe you have, rather than it being the copper that's, rather than forming a complex to mask something like it did with the mercaptoacetic acid to make the copper go away, maybe you instead form a complex, you then take that solid, do something else to it to redissolve it, and do EDTA with just that. So it's about paying attention to what's happening inside the problem in a way that I think as you understand chemistry better, these problems get more straightforward of just, oh yeah, I mix this and this, that's what the solution represents. But as you're learning, it's a really important step that is not as easily taught. It's mostly something that I practice through. Like it's about being observant and thinking through what does each of these steps represent and trying to make sure we're connecting the experiment that we're thinking of doing with the words on a page, right? Which can be hard to do sometimes. Like it's one thing to go and write on a test, hey, this is how you do these 4 steps. Then you go in lab and go, wait, how do I make a 1 molar solution again? What do I need to do? Which thing do I need to go find on the shelf? Like that's part of that transition. So hopefully this helps some with that and is partially trying to assess that. Can we read a set of directions and interpret which things represent which? So hopefully this helps out. And yeah, that's a good stopping point.